Hello, John Phelps again. Today's tutorial is about using the freeform drawing tool in Microsoft PowerPoint. Could also be used in Word. So I'm going to go to Shapes first of all. We're going to make some tiles today, and I'm going to select the rectangular tool first. I'm going to hold Shift and make a square about that big. I'm now going to go back to Shapes, and over here I have got the freeform tool. I could use squiggle if I wanted to, but I'm going into here today and I'm just going to draw a little spiral. Don't worry too much about how accurate this is. And I'm now going to change the color to something that might look good with the blue. I'm now going to shrink this a little bit and move it over onto my square. I'm now going to do Control D to duplicate this and just make this a little bit smaller, and I'm going to duplicate that several times and just move them into interesting places on the page. I might just move that up into there, and I'll make this one a little bit bigger. Just play around as much as you like. In this context, move that, make it a little bigger. I'm going to duplicate again. I'm going to spin a couple of these around, rotate a little bit. And I find it's always rather interesting if you have something right in the corner here, because it leads to some neat patterns when we duplicate later. And I think for this exercise that will perhaps do us. What about one more in here? And I might just give that a little flip as well and see what we come up with. I'm now going to trace around this and use Control G to group, and I'm going to duplicate again, Control D, and I'm going to flip using these side handles. Won't be 100% accurate, but it's okay for what we're trying to achieve. I'm now going to trace around these two tiles and do Control G to group and Control D to duplicate, and this time I'm going to flip down from the top, and wow, just through that mucking around I've got quite a nice little pattern. I'm going to now trace around here, not group this time, but duplicate, and drag this across to here and just change the order. So move the top one to the bottom and the bottom one to the top, and we get a completely different image. Most students really love what they end up getting from this. They feel success and pride in what they've achieved. Just to finish off, what I could do is duplicate, Control D, the slide over here. I'm going to choose the one I like best, and I think I'm going to go with this one today, so I'll delete this one. I'm now going to go back and group, Control G, make this a little bit smaller, and I'm just going to run along here and make some patterns. Now, Control D, I love this Control D business. When I move this across to the side here, get it where I want, and if I do Control D, it just puts it perfectly in line for me. Welcome to part 2 of my drawing tutorial using the shapes and especially the freeform tool. So from my shapes, I'm going to start with the rectangle tool again and hold Shift so I get a square, and I think I'll change the color this time, and we might start with black. Over here we will find the freeform tool, and this time instead of holding my finger down on the mouse or keypad, I'm just going to click and slide and just click every time I want to change direction. And when I do this, I just get all sorts of different shapes. I've got no idea what I'm doing, but you can see the straight lines, and I'm going to get some interesting designs. That is good. What I might try now is changing that color, and how about a pale blue? I will now move this over here and do a little bit of shrinking and a little bit of duplicating, and I'm just going to do some playing around in here. That might look interesting in every time just be careful what you are going to do here, and I think this might look quite interesting in the corner. I'm going to move that guy up there, shrink a little bit, and this one is going over to the corner, and I'm going to rotate and see what happens if we have that going on in that corner. And I'll shrink over here and just put that to there. Let's try Control D into there, and excuse my missing the mark, but it's kind of quite a good teaching point, and I think that will do. So I'm going to trace around here and Control G. As we'll do Control D, and we'll flip this, and you'll be, if you've watched the first tutorial, you'll be able to guess along with me what I'm going to be doing in these situations. Tracing around again and grouping, and Control D to duplicate, and I'm going to flip down from the top here and just squeeze that up a bit, but that's not too bad, and try and get it reasonably neat. Again, quite successful from not doing much thinking about this at all. I'm going to trace around here, and I'm going to do Control D, remembering I didn't group this time because I want to change the order, and we get a completely different pattern. Now this is about 3 minutes work, which is not bad value when you've got limited amount of time.